Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome to the JJ Washington NFL mock draft. I'm going to do this draft without trades because they are ridiculously hard to predict. And I also am acting as the general manager of every of those 32 teams. So this is not going to be a prediction mock draft. It's going to be what I would do according to my boards. And we'll start off with the number 1 overall pick. It's easy enough. I almost wanted to go Justin Fields, but Trevor Lawrence is the more refined prospect, and that is why I'll go with him. He's the number 1 pick. He's ultra productive. He has a commanding presence. He has elite athleticism, elite accuracy. He throws his wide receivers open, but he has some flaws. All of this is going to be nitpicking, but he benefited from the system. He didn't have too many full field reads, and he needs to improve manipulating safeties with his eyes. And he made some bad decisions leading to picks in his last 5 games, so there is some concerns there, but it's all nitpicking. He is the clear-cut number 1 prospect in this draft. Number 2 overall, it's going to be Justin Fields for me. He is basically Deshaun Watson in my opinion. He has a big arm, elite athleticism, elite ball placement, and he's going to be an absolute highlight reel. I also think that he is very coachable. He did not make the same mistakes twice, and he improved from game to game, so I think that's going to translate to the NFL as well. But he trusted his receivers a little bit too much to get open, so he hung on his number 1 read a little bit too often, but I don't think it's because he can't read defenses. He can read them, but he trusts his wide receiver a little bit too much. He needs to get throw progressions faster, and he plays a little bit too much hero ball, but at this point it's also all nitpicking. He is the clear-cut number 2 guy for me here. Then for the number 3 overall pick, we have the San Francisco 49ers. They traded up here, then they want to get a QB in the house. And Zach Wilson is sitting right there. He is ultra productive. He throws very well on the run. He has a quick release and high velocity on his throws. He has good accuracy and placement down the field. The short area stuff and throws over the middle is a little bit something that he needs to improve, but he also had a low level of competition in college, and he has a tendency to overstride. That was the issue with Carson Wentz, where your base gets too wide and it leads to overthrows. And he also throws a little bit too many hero balls in my opinion, and he needs to do a better job of protecting his receivers, and he makes them break stride a little bit too often, and it gets them killed because defensive backs can lay huge hits on them. But I think that still is a solid number 3 pick, and he's going to be a starting quarterback in that league no matter what. And Kyle Shanahan is someone who knows how to use his quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, and he gets the most production out of them that he can. So for the number 4 overall pick, I would say that is a spot where the Falcons should trade down. But in my mock, they go Blake Howbile, kicker, Ohio State. I'm just kidding. I hate the Falcons. In my opinion, they should go, though, with Trey Lance. Matt Ryan is not the youngest. He's getting older and older. Right now, his contract is too big to just cut him. But I think in a couple of years, Trey Lance is going to be a good starter, and he needs to sit on the bench anyway. And I also ask myself, when are they going to pick that high again? They have a really good receiving core, and it's just up to injury luck on the defense that they got this number 4 pick in the first place, in my opinion. Trey Lance is very toolsy, but he also needs to work on pocket presence. He evades the pocket a little bit too much and too early. And on the plus side, he is really athletic. He has a great arm, and he's a dual threat, so they need to quarterback spy him a lot. So that is my number 4 pick. I'm just wondering where he is on the board. Here he is, draft. With the Bengals coming up, this is an easy pick in my opinion, because the best tackle in this class is sitting right here. He is also, in my opinion, the best player available. There is no question that he is a generational talent, and I think that he is probably going to be a Hall of Famer if he doesn't get injured a little bit too much. So that is why I want to go with Penei Sewell here. He also fills a huge need. The O-line of Cincinnati is crap, and Burrow needs to get some protection. And it's also just like that Quentin Nelson pick a couple years back. And the Colts, when they drafted Quentin Nelson, their O-line went from worst to first within one offseason, and I think that could be the same with Sewell, although the interior of the Bengals is not that great to this point. Maybe they pick up a guard in the second or third round. There are some good ones available that you can plug and play and start. So with this 6th overall pick, we have the Miami Dolphins. They traded back up from the 12th spot, and I think they should go here with Devontae Smith, because I think that he is the best receiver in this class. He is the absolute best route runner. He has great hands. He's very slippery against press corners, and so nobody gets their hands on him. And he also does not have a huge injury history if you like Chase better, just because Devontae Smith is too slim at 177. I think that is not a problem, because it was not a problem in college either. And he also has the connection with Tua, and also Tua needs separators. And he also has the skill set of Devontae Parker on this team. So Jamar Chase is just another possession receiver, and of course he's a lot better than Devontae Parker, but Devontae Smith is another skill set to get on that roster, and that's why I think they should go with Devontae Smith. And then with the 7th overall pick, the Detroit Lions are on the clock. I think they would like to trade down as well, unless Trey Lance is on the board here, but in my mock he is not, and I don't do trades. So I am having here Jamar Chase. He is the 2nd best receiver. Actually, just like a 1B to my 1A. The Lions just lost Kenny Golladay to free agency. He went to the New York Giants. So Tyrell Williams and Quintez Cephas are your top receivers. You have a huge need at wide receiver, and Jamar Chase is just sitting there. Best hands in the class. He can catch everything in the air, on the ground, in stride. And he's a little bit undersized, but so was Agent 89, and he turned out just fine. So yeah, that's why I have him going here to the Lions. And then at 8, my Carolina Panthers. I was thinking a long time about this, but I think the right choice would be Micah Parsons. You just started rebuilding that defense. It's very young, and I think Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in this class. He is very raw. His run defense and coverage instincts need to improve, but the Panthers are already in a rebuilding stage. So if he takes 1 or 2 years to adjust to the NFL, I think that's just fine. He's going to be really scary once he gets there. And imagine what Matt Rule and his coaching staff could do with this guy, with this multiple front they're running. He is crazy athletic. I think he had a 4.36 40. He's really smart and still learning the position. He was not an off-ball linebacker, but he converted there at Penn State. So now he played 2 years as an off-ball linebacker, still learning the position, and I think the learning curve is steep. And also I think he's not as bad in coverage as people say. Also the really high speed helps him to recover if he loses some ground against a tight end or a running back. But I think in a couple of years he and Shaq Thompson could be a scary linebacker duo. At number 9 overall, I think the Denver Broncos should draft Rashawn Slater. He is the 2nd best O-line prospect in this class. He can play tackle and guard, and I think that Denver O-line is not that great. They need to improve that and give your QB a real shot, although I'm not that impressed with Drew Lock at this point. But since all 4 QBs are gone, so there is nobody else you can draft there, Mac Jones would be a huge overdraft in my opinion. And also, there are already great receivers and tight ends in there, so I don't feel like they need to draft Kyle Pitts. And I think that Rashawn Slater would be a huge improvement for their offense. Now at number 10, the one guy has been falling. That is Kyle Pitts. And when I look at the Cowboys receiving talent, they already have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, but the tight ends, Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz, they are not elite. They are far from elite. And since Kyle Pitts has been falling down the board to this place, there is a generational talent to pick up for the Cowboys. He's an excellent wide receiver, a great route runner. I just remember this whip route he ran against one slot corner and he beat him by a mile, even though he is 6'6", and it was a touchdown. He needs to work on his blocking, but he is uncoverable. And how do you stop Cooper, Lamb, and Pitts? That is just insane. And with that great O-line they have there in Dallas, I think that would be a really great pick for them. So at number 11, we have the New York Giants, and I think they should go Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He is a great linebacker. He is a top 10 talent in my opinion. And apart from Chasey Horn, he is the best player available. But cornerback is really good with the Giants. They have Bradbury there and Adoree Jackson. And also their safety tandem is really great, so I don't think they need to draft some secondary help. So I think a good coverage linebacker, he can cover everybody. He's very twitchy and quick and very fluid. He has good lateral quickness. I think he would be a great fit with that defense. He can cover anybody, just not Kyle Pitts, who is 4 foot taller than him. But yeah, moving on to the 12th pick, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, and there is one more player who has been falling down the board here, and that is J.C. Horn. I can find him here. He is. I'll draft J.C. Horn at 12. He's the best player on the board. They need cornerback. It has been a weakness for years now. Since the Super Bowl run, they have had a need at cornerback. And I also would have considered Rashad Bateman, but since J.C. Horn is just sitting here waiting for a team to pick him up, he may be the best cornerback since Jalen Ramsey coming out of the draft. He's very physical, and he's covered a lot of NFL wide receivers or future NFL wide receivers. So I think that is a great pickup for Philadelphia here. Then at 13, we have the LA Chargers, and I think they need to start protecting Justin Herbert. That O-line is really bad. It was one of the worst O-lines last year, and Justin Herbert still put up record numbers as a rookie quarterback, and he won Rookie of the Year. He, I think, needs some more protection, and that is why I want to go with Christian Darrisaw here out of Virginia Tech, a tackle. He's a solid plug-and-play starter. You just put him in there and you're fine, good to go. And I also love the scheme fit here for Christian Darrisaw in LA. And then with the 14th pick, the Minnesota Vikings, they, in my opinion, should take the edge rusher Jalen Phillips. Where is he? He might be down the board a little bit. Jalen Phillips out of Miami. He is the best edge rusher in my opinion. He fits perfectly into their defense. The Vikings lost a lot of D-line talent in the last couple off seasons, so I think he fits perfectly in there. They only have Danielle Hunter from that great D-line left. An excellent pass rush prospect. He has insane athleticism. He's very bendy and he has good length. The only concern is the concussions, but I think that this pick is well worth it. And with that, we are moving on to pick number 15. the New England Patriots. This is a team I see trading up, and someone just fell down the board here. That is Mac Jones. I'll take him. This is the best pick they're gonna have in years, and they're lucky to have this deep a QB class exactly this year when they were that bad. They went, I think, 7-9, and Mac Jones is the 5th best quarterback in this draft class, or maybe 6th, depending on who you like better. Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, a couple other quarterbacks that I really like. But Mac Jones, he is a solid QB with a decent arm. Bill Belichick knows how to develop him and adjust the system to Mac Jones' strength. Also, he can sit a year or two behind Cam Newton and really develop, because he had some issues in college. And with that, we are moving on to the 16th pick, and that is the Arizona Cardinals. There is another player here on the board that has been falling, and that is Patrick Surtain. He has good athleticism. He has even the tools to cover bigger tight ends. He is 6'2", and he has good jumping, so he can cover tight ends if necessary. He has a good press technique. He has really good ball skills, so he can pick the quarterback. And also for the Cardinals, Pat Pete is gone, and even if he weren't, he is not what he once was. So I think Patrick Surtain and Byron Murphy make a nice cornerback duo. So I think that's a good fit there. At 17, I have the Las Vegas Raiders going tackle. Tevin Jenkins is sitting right there. I think he is a lot better than people give him credit for, and I don't find him. I'm sorry. And he is down the board here at 31. Out of Oklahoma State, he is a great tackle prospect in my opinion. He is very violent and has an aggressive attitude. And he also has a great initial step off the snap. He is always one step faster than every D-liner, and that is really valuable because he can anchor faster. And also, he's a little bit raw, but he fills a need there in Las Vegas, and I think that he's going to be a solid starting tackle in the future. And then we are moving on. At 18, I thought a lot about Waddle, but we already picked Devontae Smith for the Dolphins. And also they signed Will Fuller, so they already have a deep threat there on the roster. I think Waddle would be a little bit overkill when you look at that offensive line, because they have Eric Flowers starting at guard. So yeah, I really don't want to do that. So I have them going Elijah Vera Tucker. You need to get to some more help. That O-line can get a little bit better. And he is a great guard prospect with exceptional athleticism. He has been falling a little bit as well. I think he could go earlier in the real draft, but I really didn't see a team that needed him that much more than the other prospects that went ahead of him. So I have him here going at 18 to Miami. So then we are at 19, and that is where the playoff teams start. I think the Washington football team has a really great roster, and I think they have a little bit of needs at the offensive line. So that is why I want to go with Samuel Cosmi here. He's a tackle out of Texas, and he is a little bit on the board here for PFF. He has crazy good athleticism, really exceptional athlete. He is a little bit raw, but I think he's going to improve. The right side of the line looks really good, and the better your offensive line is, the better your team is doing, because then you can put in any running back you want, and he will always have some lanes to run through. I don't care who the quarterback is for Washington next season, but the better the O-line, the better the quarterback play. And I think that team looks very solid. Sam Cosmi has exceptional athleticism, in my opinion. He's a little bit raw, but I think he will develop into a great starter at left tackle here. And despite the need for a quarterback, I am not overdrafting for Kellen Mond or Davis Mills here. So I think a tackle is very valuable, and I also think about that you reached the playoffs with 3 starting quarterbacks last year, and you still almost beat out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. So I think that team already is quite good on the defensive side and on the offensive side. And so a better tackle on the left side is going to help them get even faster down the field. So now at 20, somebody has been falling, and that is Jalen Waddle. And this is the point where I can not justify any other player going over him here at 20, especially because of the Allen Robinson scenario happening here, the situation where Allen Robinson wants to go, but he was franchise tagged, so he now has to play there, but he does not want to play with Andy Dalton or the corpse of Andy Dalton, so you need to get a new receiver in the building. And Jalen Waddle has been falling down the field, has been falling down the board. So I think he's a great athlete. He has serious deep speed. He has a good rack ability, but I'm not as high on him. He needs to improve his route running and his releases. That being said, though, I think he's going to be a great receiver there in Chicago. And then at 21, I got a bit into a situation. I didn't know who to take. The great tackles were already gone, at least the ones I'm high on. So I didn't know what to do because Costanzo retired, and they really need a tackle. I think their defense is rock solid, and the rest of the O-line is pretty good as well, but you have a hole at left tackle. You also could consider receiver here, but Jalen Waddle just went. And so I looked at the tackles remaining, and I saw that Jalen Mayfield is still on the board here, and I am going to take him. I don't know where he is on this board. He's at 144. I'm going to take him in the first round. I really like this kid. He is only 20 right now. He has a good blend of size and athleticism, and he has a really steep learning curve, so he has gotten a lot better from game to game. He was highly productive versus quality edge rushers in college, and I feel like he has a sky-high upside, so I'm going to take him here out of Michigan to Indianapolis. And then at 22, this pick was more than obvious. I'm so high on Bateman. I would have taken him at 12 to the Eagles, but J.C. Horn was just too good a pick to let him sit there. So this is where Rashad Bateman goes. He is my number 3 receiver, and he goes here to the Tennessee Titans. Where is he? Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. The Titans need a receiver because Corey Davis is gone. He went to the Jets in free agency. You're left with A.J. Brown and, nobody else. Rashad Bateman is an excellent route runner. He has good speed. I think he ran a 4.38 at his pro day, and even if you add the 10th to 4.48, because pro day times are usually a little bit better than if you track it with GPS, but I think he has solid speed, he has a solid press release. Sometimes he gets a little bit too cute with his press releases, but he has good hands. He does not drop a lot of balls, and he reminds me a lot of Justin Jefferson, and I was not that high on Justin Jefferson last year, and I had to learn from that. So I think that Rashad Bateman is worth of a top 15 pick in my opinion. But there were no teams that were receiver needy in the teens. So I think that is a perfect fit here on the opposite side of A.J. Brown. Then at 23, the New York Jets are on the clock once again, and there is one player on the board that has been falling for me, and that is Caleb Farley. So this is the second pick for the New York Jets, and I know Caleb Farley has the injury history, but the Jets can afford to take a swing, and I think Caleb Farley has a sky-high upside, and only the injury is the real problem here. He would be my number 1 cornerback if it weren't for that back injury. But there is a 20% chance that the surgery that is coming up is not going to fix the problem. So I wanted to take him with a team that can afford to take a shot, that does not need to address one glaring hole on the roster. So I think Caleb Farley here to the Jets makes a lot of sense, and I also know that I think Saleh would really know how to implement this guy into his defense. Also, Caleb Farley is very long, he is very strong and athletic, and he has a steep learning curve because in high school he played quarterback. So he has been playing cornerback for just a couple years now, and he's already that good. I think he can get even better. And then we have the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock, and I think they really need to go with a cornerback. They have needs at O-line, but I think all the good O-linemen are gone already, and I don't want to overdraft for, I don't know, Quinn Miners or Landon Dickerson here. So I think they go cornerback instead, and I will select here Eric Stokes out of Georgia. The PFF board has him at 72. I'll take him in the first round. I think speed translates into the NFL. So Eric Stokes is one of my favorite cornerbacks. He had a 4.25 40, and he also flashed a lot of playmaking instincts, so he can make plays on the ball if he has a chance to. And he also stands his grounds against bigger and more physical receivers. So I think that is a good fit there. They needed cornerback anyway, and now they addressed it here at 24. And then at 25, I was struggling a lot with this pick because I think that Jacksonville has a decent roster. It's not like they have a load of glaring needs, and then I just went with what I thought is the best player on the board here, and that is Kwity Paye out of Michigan. I'll take him here at 25. He's a 4-3 edge rusher, and I think he fits perfectly into that system they're gonna run down there in Jacksonville. Kwity Paye is a great run defender. He's not the best pass rusher, but I think he has the chance to get better there, and he has good athleticism, so I think the upside is really high with him. He's very fluid and has good balance. He also manages to have really great leverage over the offensive tackles he's facing, so that they are right on the edge. And the first step of Kwity Paye is really excellent. He is so fast off the snap that puts offensive tackles really in bad situations. And I thought with this pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars could rejuvenate their defensive line from that, I think, 2017 or 2018 AFC Championship run. That was a really great defense, and it has fallen apart since, and Kwity Paye is, I think, a good start to rejuvenate there. Let's move on to 26. I have the Cleveland Browns taking Zaven Collins. I am not impressed with the linebacker talent they have there, and I think Zaven Collins can fill a need. They, in my opinion, need a good run stopper there, and Zaven Collins is a great athlete. He is a very solid run stopper day one. He has good length and a really good football IQ, and he has good short area quickness that is needed in that run defense, run support. And these Browns linebackers, like I said, did not impress me at all. And now at 27, we have a bit of a situation here because I think the Ravens' greatest need is one big body wide receiver, but Rashad Bateman is gone, and I am not a big fan of Terrace Marshall, so I didn't really know what to do here. But to make it easier on Lamar Jackson, I wanted to select a receiver that is at least a good route runner and that plays bigger than his size, and that is Tylan Wallace. He is an excellent route runner in my opinion, and they have him down the board here as well. Where is he? 103? No, he's a first round pick for me. Oklahoma State. He has great route running abilities. He plays a lot bigger than his size. He also grabs contested balls against bigger corners. He was highly productive in college. He also has a big rack upside. He can break some tackles if he wants to. And I think that is going to be a good complement to the big body Miles Boykin and the speedster Marquise Brown in that receiving core. And then you also have Mark Andrews. So I think that would be a good combination of skill players that Lamar can throw to. And with that, at 28, I have the Saints going Blake Howbile, kicker out of Ohio State. No, just kidding. I hate the Saints as well. They have a huge problem at receiver because they had to let Sanders go because of cap reasons. They were almost 100 million over the cap at the beginning of the offseason, so they needed to cut some people, and I think that receiver is the way to go here for them. I have them going Elijah Moore because I think he's a great second receiver. He's not a great big body wide receiver on the outside. I think he's 5'10", 5'11", but he is highly productive. He was highly productive in college. He's a really good route runner, and you saw the improvement from season to season. He is a good athlete, and he also can make some people miss. He's not going to break tackles, but he's going to shake tacklers like with jukes and spins. And he also can secure some contested balls despite his size. I think that is a great player, and I think on draft day I might see him go somewhere in the top 20 even, maybe at 22 to the Titans as well. So yeah, I think he was falling down the board a little bit. He is a really good complement, in my opinion, to Michael Thomas on the outside. Aaron Rodgers is not going to get another receiver here, and he, by the way, played great with no receiver help last season, so I think that's fine. I was thinking about selecting O-line, but I wasn't amazed by the talent that was on the board at this pick, or is on the board at this pick. So I have them going defense. I have them going Tyson Campbell, quarterback, Georgia. I really like him as well. Georgia knows how to develop their cornerbacks, and I seem to take all the players that are way down the board for PFF. But I like Tyson Campbell a lot. He has legit 4.3 speed. It's just like Eric Stokes. They are both first round picks for me. He has high upside due to his exceptional athleticism. And also, the Packers have Jair Alexander, but Kevin King is hurt a lot, and Josh Jackson might be a free agent next year, so that is why I wanted to go cornerback here. And Tyson Campbell also has good movement and recovery skills. He's also 6'2", so good size here, and I like that pick a lot. And then we are here at 30. Buffalo Bills on the clock. And this is where it got tricky because I think the Bills have a really complete roster. They have a great safety tandem, some great cornerbacks, great linebacker group. I think their D-line is just fine. That defense does not need to improve all that much. And with that, I am going to the offensive side of the football. The offensive line was good. Josh Allen can evade some tackles, and that is why I have them go receiver here. I like what Kadarius Toney brings to the table. He is a really electrifying prospect. I'll have him here at 30 to the Buffalo Bills. He has also great change of direction ability, so he's really explosive on design touches, so like jet sweeps or these reverse plays, and he also a lot of times forces tacklers to swing and miss. He does not take the big hits because he knows how to evade them, and he is one great weapon for Josh Allen there. I think that receiver room still lacks even after the addition of Stephon Diggs. I think they can add another receiver here, and Kadarius Toney is a great one. And at 31, this is the Super Bowl pick from Kansas City, but on the clock there are the Baltimore Ravens. And I think they have an almost complete roster. I took care of receiver there at 27, so I don't think I'll take another one, especially since Terrace Marshall is not my favorite prospect. And I think that defense is just dandy, all the secondary, the linebacker core, the defensive line. So I just thought to myself, I'm gonna take the best player that is on the board. And for me, I think that is Gregory Rousseau. He was highly productive, and he is really long and rangy. He has a really high upside, and he already has a good hand usage. That is very rare for defensive linemen to get into the NFL with already good hand usage. So I think he's going to be great as a rotational pass rusher at the beginning. He is a little bit raw, but I think Harbaugh knows exactly what to do with such toolsy guys that need some work as a raw prospect. And with the Super Bowl pick, the 32nd overall pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I also think this might be a spot where someone can trade up from the second round and get like a Kellen Mond or a Davis Mills to get that 5th-year option in there from the first-round rookies. But in this mock draft, I have them go Jason Owe. He has a high upside. He is a really raw talent at this point, but this roster that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers field, this is the most complete roster in the league. And I think that his 4.36 40, and he's really twitchy. He had a good 3-cone drill as well. I think you can work with that. So I have him going here because I think he can be a rotational pass rusher, just like Gregory Rousseau to the Baltimore Ravens. And JPP and Shaq Barrett can be kept fresh, and the Bucs do not have a huge drop-off from their play if Owe comes into the game. And he still needs to be developed, but I trust the Buccaneers coaching staff to take care of that because they did it with Shaq Barrett as well. And that's it. That is my mock draft here. I have an F here for Rashawn Slater. Apparently the PFF board does not like Rashawn Slater. They also don't like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. JC Horn only a D+. I think that is a steal. And they also don't like Jalen Phillips. They don't like Tevin Jenkins. Man, they don't like anything I did. But I think these are some fine picks. And with that being said, I hope you have a great draft day and can enjoy this first round draft really well. I'm looking forward to it a lot. And that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more of my content. See you in the next video. Until then, spread some love.